Hey friends, welcome to this week's episode of Not Your Mama's Podcast. And today I'm so excited. We have Maria Manfredi, a trailblazing CEO and founder renowned for her innovative approach to business. With expertise in regulatory affairs and a passion for holistic health, Maria has transformed both the consulting and self-care industries. Maria, it is such an honor to have you on, and I cannot wait to dive into our episode today.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me.
So, as a successful entrepreneur and a mother, what advice do you have to other mothers who are aspiring to start their own businesses, while managing their family responsibilities and everything they have juggling going on in their lives?
Absolutely. I would say just start. Honestly, the reason why I'm an entrepreneur is because it did not work out for me in corporate America. I felt that, the flexibility wasn't always there. They really don't really understand. And now everybody's working remote. And so the pressure to kind of be online 24/7 is there. And so I really wanted to put those boundaries and I tried and tried and tried. And so I figured, okay, let me just shoot my shot and make my own hours and, make my own schedule however I want, like, and
Yeah.
then be able to cut my teams off if I wanted to. And so I think it's a lot more intimidating when you think about, oh gosh, like being my own boss or being my own, having my own business or even consulting firm. But honestly, it's a breath of fresh air
Yeah.
because you can say no to clients, you can pick your hours and work when you can. So we were sharing before the show, my family and I were sick for a whole week. How do
Yeah.
you find time to fit in the work? Well, nap time and after dinner,
Ex-
and so, and that's the biggest blessing. And I was there to cuddle my baby all day, so.
Yeah. And it kind of puts power back into your own hands. You know what I mean? Like you said, you're your own boss. You can make your own hours and you can prioritize your family. I know sometimes women struggle, having to like be at work, all the time, and it takes away from the family and like other things that you need to do. So I think it's important for women to feel empowered and know that they are able to like go off and do that, business venture that they always dreamt about and not having that fear. And I know you kind of mentioned like, in the self-care aspect of it, so for mothers interested in starting like the business from home, what are some practical steps that they can take to establish and, and grow their venture?
Right. So I think it's just coming up with a plan first and, really looking at the value add. So I think a lot of people will say, okay, I'm just going to start this business. Well, do your research because your time is so valuable.
Mm-hmm.
Your time, your all the time you put into work, you're away from your kids. That's not to guilt us, but it's just
Yeah.
making sure we're really methodical with what we're doing before we begin.
Mm-hmm.
And then the self-care piece, as an entrepreneur of two companies and then some, it's finding creative ways to put in your self-care. So I'll put my eye mask on when I'm cooking dinner, you
Yeah.
know, and honestly, like when we were dealing with this sickness, it's just making sure I brush my teeth. Sometimes that's self-care, okay?
Yeah.
So
At least you had the teeth brushed today.
another thing I've been adding is laundry as my self-care. So I actually revamped my whole laundry room. So when I'm in there, it's my Zen moment. I have an Alexa, essential oils and things like that. So it's just being creative and making sure you put the effort in to research before you begin.
Yeah, and I think it's important to kind of, yeah, exactly, do a little bit of research before just diving in, get familiar with what you need to do. And I know that you're really philanthropic. I can't say that word. You
It's a
know,
tongue twister.
and your business, is on a mission, to support and uplift women. How can consumers contribute to this cause, through their purchases with you?
Yeah, absolutely. So philanthropy has always been a big part of my journey. We are also a Christian faith-based company. Everything I do, it's for God first and foremost. And so I was thinking, okay, I want to make an impact globally. How can I do that? And, God spoke to me and said, no, start here, start in your community. So Betty Griffin
Yeah.
Center is a center for women and children and those who are, in unfortunate domestic abuse situations. And so, and it happens sadly in most communities. And so I'm always like, okay, what do they need? And, we were able to donate our shower steamers to them. And I just always feel like it's never enough. And then,
Yeah.
unused diapers or formula. So right now we are locally sold in St. Augustine in a few stores, and we're also nationwide. And so if you go to www.puriaapothecary.com, and I'm sure we'll tag that somewhere,
Mhm.
then you can see where we're sold and we're growing. So We haven't launched our Amazon storefront yet. That's definitely on the 2024 goals, but we still want to continue to get the buzz out there about us because proceeds for specifically our Lightener Lavender line with the essential oil candle, that one goes straight to the Betty Griffin Center. So
I love that. I love that you're out there helping women and empowering them to, be their best selves. And so before we dive into the Power Mom Chronicles section, what is one thing that you would like to say, or not just one thing, but just the last thing you would like to say before we dive into that about women wanting to, go out there, go for their dreams, be that independent entrepreneur that they, dream of being and owning their own schedule.
right. I think women, we tend to get put in this box of, okay, you work, but it's more domestic work that we need to be doing. And, there is space for us in the market. And I think now more than ever, we have so many free tools such as AI, ChatGPT,
Mm-hmm.
Canva, just the sky's the limit at this point. And I think, I was raised in poverty. And then, as we were coming up, my dad passed away from cancer in college. And then I, got married, then I got divorced and became a single mom. So I understand the single mom struggle too. And so
Mm-hmm.
what I want to tell the ladies is, just go for it. And don't let anybody tell you can't, because you
Yeah.
can. And there's space for us. And let's go back to what I was saying about making sure you're making the right moves. Research the business. So Google Analytics is free. So
Yeah.
that's what I did before I started Puria Apothecary, is that I
Mhm.
looked to see if people, well, first and foremost, I had a candle making kit my husband bought me. I got remarried. And I was looking at ingredients and thinking, wow, these are awful ingredients. I need to actually make my own. Let me see.
Yeah.
Well, let me back up. Let me see if they're on the market, and they weren't. So
Yeah.
that's why I did some research. And then I was like, okay, well, let me see if other people are searching for these.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know about that tool until my husband told me, because he's in marketing.
Yeah.
And so that was really an eye opener. I said, oh, it's trending. And so I think it's just getting, using the tools that we have and just going for it. That's all I could say.
Yeah. No, I love it. And thanks for sharing your story. Yeah. I mean, I'm divorced, single mom, raising two young boys. I just got, I'm like, what am I gonna do? What's my next step? Like, what does my life look like? And it's like I want to be my own entrepreneur myself. So just going to the real estate game, and doing that here in Nevada. So I feel like, I can make my own times. I guess it's a lot of work. You got
Right.
to hustle still, but I feel like I'm in control and, it is my business. And also with the podcast, you know what I mean? Just feeling
Love
in
it.
control of all of that.
Yeah,
So
I love that. And I want to say too is I think, old school way is like, okay, I have one hustle and that's it. No, especially in this economy,
yeah,
go for it all as much as you can in your capacity and see what works.
yeah.
So, like for instance, my consulting firm is really picking up because there's new regulatory implication coming up. July 1st is their deadline for cosmetic companies to register with the
Hmm.
FDA. And so that's keeping us so busy. And I've noticed because the economy is a little tight, people aren't really necessarily reaching for those extra luxury self-care items. So I
Yeah,
think you have to kind of figure out what works in the economy.
yeah. Well, Maria, it is time for the Power Mom Chronicles, and I cannot wait to know what your answers are. My first one is, what's a game-changing lesson life has taught you?
So yeah, a game-changing lesson life has taught me is that this moment shall pass. It's to not give
Hmm.
up. I think when we're really in the trenches, we think, oh my gosh, this is forever. And I'm so glad that people encouraged me during that time. It's funny, when I was a single mom, it was just really, really hard. And I remember the single moms came out of the woodworks at corporate America. They're like, "How can we help? What can we do for you?" And
Hmm.
it's just wow, like people really want to rally around me. Okay, not give up. Okay, like where I'm at now, if you would have told me that 5 years ago, to laughed in your face, I would have been like, "No way."
Yeah.
There's no way I would be a CEO and all this stuff and live my dream right now. And so if someone would have just told me, do not give up, this is not forever, this too shall pass, that would have been, like people did tell me that, but I'm saying like,
Yeah,
listen to
but
me
we're
now.
stubborn. We only want to hear and accept what we want at the time.
Yeah.
And reflecting on your journey, what practical lessons or insights can our listeners apply to improve their own lives?
Yeah. So, I mean, going back to the faith journey, so definitely having faith in Jesus Christ. I think, now more than ever, faith is so important and their world is in turmoil right now and on fire. So I think having a faith is important to keep you grounded. And also, therapy. I'm a big proponent of therapy. I think, kind of getting rid of your self-limiting beliefs and continue to move forward has helped me because, you can kind of hear the voices in the back of your head from the people that have said, you'll never make it, you'll never amount to anything, things like that. And really, you don't have to listen to that. It's all internal. So, keep working on yourself, even when it's hard. Therapy, Jesus Christ, and keep following your dreams.
Exactly. And then offer a piece of wisdom for moms or anyone really trying to find their strength and voice.
Yeah, so I think it's all about coming back to empowering yourself. And I think we touched on this a little bit. It's, really just putting yourself first, starting with the self-care, also doing something you love one time a week or
Hmm.
finding time to do that. And slowly but surely you kind of come back alive when you do that. So I'm sure like with the podcast, it's really energizing, right? So
Yeah.
whether you're an artist, share it on Instagram, put yourself out there, make a TikTok, find your voice somewhere, find your people and share because you have something to share with the world, we need
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, we do. We need you. I love that. And the best advice you've ever received.
The best advice I ever received was, I think it goes back to this too shall pass.
Hmm.
And you are loved. And going through my faith journey, so many people said, God loves you, God loves you. I'm like, what does that mean? Like I have never met God. But I think when you start also loving yourself and finding time to take care of yourself and that love grows, then you can kind of see the capacity that God has for you. And then you can go from there.
Yeah. Well, what a great way to end this week's episode of Not Your Mama's podcast. All of Maria's links are down below in the show notes. Don't be shy. Go say hi, and I hope to see you all in the next one. Thanks for listening.